Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Welcome to season 2, episode 6. We are back with the white man Carrie, healing, identity, and responsibility. And if you did not tune in last week, y'all, it was so good. So tonight I have the privilege to have one of my brothers to come on tonight to share with you guys. He is just amazing. He is. Y'all gonna get to see. Um, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, but I want you guys to share out the live. If you are on Facebook, share it out for me. If you're on YouTube, send the link and tell your people to subscribe. What y'all doing? But I am not going to prolong the time because I do want us to go ahead and jump into the questions. Um, Again, ladies, I'm gonna go ahead and preface this. For the remainder of this series, this is a safe space for men. So if you don't agree with something that is said, this is not the live to state your discrepancies. You can go make a post on your own page, but for this particular podcast, we are here just to create a safe space for men to be able to be vulnerable and to share. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring up my brother so he can introduce himself, and we're gonna get started. Unmute yourself, bro.
Yes, ma'am. What's up, sis? How's it going?
Hey, go ahead and introduce yourself for the people.
My name's Alan Newman. Friends call me Newman. I currently reside in Orlando, Florida. Uh, that's all I got. What you want me to do? Got no kids. Oh wait, this ain't a dating thing. My bad. My bad. Moving right along. Moving right along. My
No,
bad. My bad.
you tell them whatever you want them to know.
um. Oh man. First of all, it's an honor to be on here with my sis. When she reached out to me earlier last month sometime and told me I had swore off doing podcasts, but I was like, for you, I would make an exception to be a part of this. So once again, my name's Alan. Friends call me Newman. Um, I'm originally from Concord, Massachusetts. Been living in Florida since '98. Um, yeah, love to read, right? Our biggest inspiration is making sure our black people, most importantly, our black women are doing good. But like my sis said, this is geared to all my brothers. So I appreciate this space for us because it's not too many spaces that allow us to talk freely without judgment. So I definitely appreciate that, sis. That's all I got right now.
Okay. Well, let me. Lord, y'all cannot be texting me while I'm live. Jesus. Okay, let me get your questions. I was supposed to write them down, but yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. So I don't know if you saw the questions that um the men were asked last week. I thought I did a good job of doing like some surface level questions, but they was like, nah, these ain't surface level. So I'm gonna go ahead and apologize ahead of time.
No worries, no worries.
And then
I'm
see,
cool with it.
you get times to answer. Y'all, it was supposed to be a panel, but people dropped out, and that's okay. It's okay. We got who we needed up here, and we gonna keep the show rolling. Um,
I apologize for the ladies right now if they was looking for some chocolate goodness on the live. I'm sorry. Y'all have to come next week or for the next show for that. So this is what you got. This is what you got. That's all I got for you. My bad.
you
My
play
bad.
too
Just in case. That's
much.
all I got.
Okay, we're gonna start. We're gonna go out the gate. Okay,
All right.
we
All right.
we just gonna go out the gate. Um, Last week we talked about the weight men carry. So tonight
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask how much of that weight is assigned and how much of it are men choosing to carry.
Ooh. Oh, how much is assigned and how much is the men choose to carry it? Ooh, Mercedes. Brothers, forgive me if whew. I would say honestly, the society we live in, I would say about 90% of it is assigned, and I will say 100% of it men choose to carry. And I'm going to preface the reason I'm saying that is because, of course, you know what's going on through society. Everyone's trying to figure out this man and the patriarchy and everything like that. When we're dealing with, I know I saw the other day they were saying black boys currently now between the ages of 20 and 30 are the highest to commit suicide right now. I do think we have added a lot of it to ourselves because we don't allow ourselves to be genuine without judgment. So I do believe a lot of it is self-inflicted, um, especially when it comes to a space of what is a man supposed to be in society? What has God called you to be? If I start preaching, guys, forgive me. I'm a PK, so forgive me. I think we have put unrealistic expectations on how a man should be. And I think we've done that to ourselves, and we don't allow ourselves to be able to evolve in our role as a man. If you notice, we allow spaces, especially for our women, to be able to evolve, but we're really rigid when it comes to allowing our men to evolve. If it's going to make another man seem uncomfortable or smaller, we tend to push against it. So I would honestly say, based on my opinion, about 90% of it, it's given to us, but 100% of us, we carried ourselves. Um, and then the ones who do try not to carry it have to deal with the fact of people unknowingly bullying them into carrying it. And when you say, well, Newman, what you mean by bullying? If I see a particular man who's maneuvering differently compared to the toxic masculinity that we're known in our culture, what normally happens is everyone looks at someone, well, that sucks, that's sus, you're sassy, you're this, you're that, and you unknowingly or knowingly pull them back into the space that all of our other men have. And you literally have a lot of men that are bleeding on top of each other. Um, yeah, a lot of them are bleeding on top of each other, and it's just perpetuating the stereotypes, perpetuating the issues we have. Good example. We have asked for our men to go to therapy. We have been preaching that. God, I want to say prior to COVID, but definitely when COVID hit, that's what you definitely was hearing about. Brothers go to therapy. Brothers go to therapy. But then you have brothers who don't believe in therapy that are just like, nah, that's weak. That's suspect. That's not something I need. I'm a man. You're just supposed to deal with it. I'm sorry. I'm not just about to deal with it. And this is coming from someone who lost their father in 2020. And my dad was definitely the epitome of a man's man. But I also know he carried a lot of stuff that he should not have carried that ultimately led him to having an early grave. Um, and a lot of us have to be able to have the space, because I know a lot of brothers say, well, we don't necessarily have the space to actually shed that weight. I do believe it's up to us as brothers to create that space, because we can ask for our black women to do as much as they can, but at the end of the day, we're quick to say, well, black women hold space for us, but then we're quick to say there's certain conversations we can't have with the black woman. So if you can't have it with the black woman, then that means you must need to have it with your brothers. So you need to build up that wall of brothers where you can have that conversation and create that safe space. Long story short, that's my answer though. 90% I do believe it's just given to us, but I do believe, in my opinion, 100% of it, we add on to it and we carry the weight knowingly.
I love that. And what I love and what I'm just noticing since I started this podcast is y'all literally be segueing into the next question. So I love everything you said. So the next question is, what does responsibility look like when a man is still healing? Is it fair to expect him to lead while he's still trying to find himself?
Yes, I
Because
think it's fair. You want to?
you spoke on the healing piece. So
Mm-hmm.
is
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
yeah, go ahead.
I see what you did there. So, yes, it is still. So, I'm going to put a caveat to it. Yes, it's still his responsibility to lead, because if we follow according to the Bible and the way God has set the roles up, you are the anchor as a man. You are the pillar. You are the protector. Um, but I also will say, for everyone who says, well, you're already putting too much pressure on me, the same thing that actually happens to our Black women. Like you're in charge with maneuvering something and still carrying the weight by yourself while healing. Um, so in actuality, we have to do the same thing. I tell people all the time, I'm very cognizant of what my struggles are, what I'm healing from, what I'm working on. I know my cap, and I'm willing not to go over that cap to overwhelm myself. I do think while you're in that healing stage, you have to be able, as a Black man, to be understanding of your boundaries and willing to enforce them while you're healing. Because I can still lead in certain areas while I'm healing, um, and not have any issues. But we've also seen a lot of men who are healing and they're bleeding or walking wounded and trying to lead. And because they're still wounded, they're bleeding all over everybody that they're trying to lead. So, yes, you can lead while wounded. Whew. The question would be, is it necessarily healthy to be leading while you're wounded? I will say no, but when you think of the spirit of masculinity, it'd be, well, I'm a strong man. I'm a man. I can carry everything. I can do everything while I'm bleeding. I got one leg blown off, but I'm crawling around and carrying everybody. So it's a matter of how, this might be a cuss word for the brothers. You're gonna have to be able to be vulnerable while you're healing. You got to be able to say, hey, Mercedes, sis, while I'm going through this, I need you in my circle to cover me in this area while I'm trying to heal. And once I know that I'm at a place in that area where I'm good, then I'll come back and take the reins. But it takes two to tango. If I'm going to be willing to ask of you to cover me that way, I have to also be assured that I can trust that you're not going to use it against me in a later light. And sometimes that's an issue a lot of the brothers have. They feel like that may be used, that weakness or that area they were healing in could be used against them in a conversation or in another event. So,
Do you hear that, ladies? These men desire to be vulnerable with you, but their fear is that you're going to use their vulnerability against them. And we gotta stop that. If he tells you something in a moment of vulnerability, you don't take that and use it against him in a later argument or in a disagreement or whatever the case may be. This is one of the reasons why the men be shutting down, because y'all don't know how to hush.
it's true. It's valid.
I don't know what part you talk about, Shane, but about the vulnerability. Yeah, the vulnerability piece. Okay, so in your experience, what's the difference between a man who is healing, like healing for real, or just coping to, mask it and to go through life?
Oh man, what's the difference? Oh, sadly, I've been on both sides of that. I want to say the ones that are coping, they're never genuinely going to tell you what's wrong. They're just, like I said, they're just going to push through. Their arm got blown off. They're just going to push through. It's nobody's business. It's mine. Um, I feel like the ones that have went through the healing or going through the healing the correct way that works for them, they're more open. They're more open. They're more honest. Um, I think they're more transparent because when you're healing, you're learning how to navigate the pain. I say the best way to look at it is look at someone who's going through rehab. You broke your leg and you're relearning how to walk again. You're spending that time relearning yourself, relearning what the areas were that caused that hurt. You're learning how to navigate that in a healthy light. Um, I think when you're just coping, you start using a lot of outside things for that. So, so what you mean by coping? You're probably gonna be, if you're a drinker, you're over drinking. If you out there trying to get nookie, you out there trying to sleep with everything that's out there. If you out there, you just hustling to cover the pain. Like you're still not taking care. There's a reason why you see so many people that have a lot of money and they're still not happy because they never took over. They never fixed the actual thing that needed to be fixed in their life. I can be a millionaire and I'll still be miserable. I can have the hottest woman in the world, still be miserable because it ain't doing nothing for me. We see it every day. We see people every day that when you look on the outside, you're like, wow, they got everything. They should be happy. Then you find out months later, they've been sitting there screaming, hollering, ready to shoot themselves because they're not healed. And I think usually when people are coping, they're just using something on the outside to help them get over a temporary thrill, temporary pain reliever, to get over whatever they were dealing with, so they don't have to feel that pain. Um, and then they just keep it pushing. The problem is that's temporary. Once that is gone, you got to go right back to the source. Um, what can we do to help the ones who's coping to move toward healing? Man, Glam, it's tough because I think the biggest challenge we have as men is people forget that not every man is wired the same way. Sometimes we just assume that all men are wired the same and we handle them all the same. Um, you may have a person in your family or a partner who he's one of those people, he just needs you to sit and listen to him talk. Just listen to him word vomit about everything that's bothering him. You may have some people who they're not much of a talker. They just want to sit in a space and just know that you're there. There's some people, as if you're there for me, that's a good enough for me. Um, you kind of just have to remind them that they're not alone. Because remember, we have raised our black men, especially from little tykes, to be the man, to be the superhero, to be the one that everyone leans on. He doesn't lean on anybody. There's nobody he's supposed to be leaning on. And I had to navigate that when my dad passed, because it's just four of us. It was my dad, my mom, my sister, and I. So four of us. When he passed, I had to navigate that because he was my Superman. He was my Iron Man. He was every Marvel DC character you can think of. Like, he could do no wrong. He was that safe space. And then I had to navigate, like, how do I cope that this man's no longer here while I also have a mother who is coping with the passing of her husband, and I have a little sister that is dealing with the fact that her hero is no longer here. How do I navigate that? And you just have to be able to let them know, like, I am here for you. Like, I can't force you. Um, yes, be there and be present, be available. I can tell you, for me personally, I'm one of those people. I can go from talking a mile a minute to I'll go to I don't need to say nothing. Like, if you're in the space with me and I know you're there, I'm good. Then there's other times I may call and be like, hey, I have a really good friend, and they laugh all the time. We don't talk that often, but when I call, they already know I'm about to sit here and just drop a whole bunch of stuff, and they just listen, and they listen until I'm done talking, and they're like, "You got anything else on you?" So you just got to be able to be ready, available, and present. And I think the biggest challenge is being available and present, because I may reach out to you at a time where you might be dealing with something. And sometimes we will sit there and say, well, let me help you with what you're dealing with, but what I may dump on you may affect what you're dealing with too. So sometimes, as our sisters, I'll always tell them, you have to be mindful too of what your capacity is when I need that moment. You may have to be like, all right, Newman, I can give you a solid 5 minutes of what you got to get off your chest, and then circle back. And I think when you're open like that, I think men will appreciate it, because at least it lets them know that you are knowingly making a space for them to be real, no matter how limited it may be. If it's 10 minutes, if it's 5 minutes, if it's freaking 2 minutes, like, it lets him know that I have someone that has my back, that understands what I'm going through. And if she doesn't understand, or he doesn't understand, they're willing to sit with me to understand. Because a lot of times, a lot of the brothers, we feel like no one understands us. I know I used to feel like that all the time. I had to end up going to therapy because it was just like, I felt like nobody understood, no one gets it, no one know how it feels, even though everyone's dealt with the losing of a father, losing of their mother. But when you're in that space, you just feel like nobody knows. Nobody knows the hurt in my heart. I'm over here. When I say I was out there like, bump everybody, the world is trash, I hate everybody, I don't know why my dad's not here, and now I got to sit there and navigate it, while also keeping a smile on my face and making it seem like everything is good. And sometimes people don't realize just because someone's smiling doesn't mean they're not hiding pain. So,
We talked about that last week. One of my panelists from last week, he lost his father when he was 20, and we were talking about that whole grief piece, like just what it looks like for men specifically. And you said something that when you are when you are the strong friend, because now I'm just looking at it from a man's point of view, because y'all are always strong. Um, and my friend that did this, the first person who's ever done it, she just came on. She just commented on my friend Chanel. I'll never
okay.
forget the first time she asked me. She said, Sadie, do you have the capacity to hold what I can? I never forget when she I had never had nobody ask me that. I had never had anyone to ask me, was I in a space, because I'm always the strong one, right? So I never had anybody to make sure that I could hold what they needed me to carry for that moment. And so when people do that now moving forward, I look like I got a mentee. Before she go in, she be like, Miss 80s, do you have space? Cause I got a lot. It's a whole bunch. So I just want to know if you got space. And I be like, come on, sister,
Mm-hmm.
what you got? So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I it's two-sided. It's I need you, I need my men to be like, I'm holding a lot and I need to offload this. Can you carry this? But on the flip side, we also have to be honest. And it's not that we don't want to carry it, but like you say, you may be going through something and you may not have the capacity to hold it in that moment. And that's where I feel like sometimes offense comes in, when you don't have the capacity to hold it right then and there. So then it's looked at as rejection. And it's just, when I tell you, like, emotional intelligence and emotional awareness is such a big thing when it comes to the opposite sex communicating. We said it last week. I said it last week. Communication to me is not key, comprehension is. Because I can talk to you until I'm blue in the face, but if you are not comprehending what I'm saying, what are we talking about? Why are we talking?
Exactly.
You know?
Ex-
So
exactly.
I can't, y'all know I can't see, so I have to make it big so I can see.
Yes, people do have to give grace for
Yes.
capacity. Yep. Yep, yep. And it's okay if you don't have that space, because like you said, Mercedes, life is life, and for a lot of people. And could you imagine if every day I'm calling you to dump everything, like on a daily basis, just dump it, dump it, dump it, dump it, dump it, dump. Like that's gonna take its toll. So you also have to make sure you're creating that boundary with that black man to let him know, like, I got your back, but also remember there may be times where we may have to decompress and take parts of what's going on. And I tell this to my trainees at my job whenever they have a question. I'm doing something like, let's parking lot this. Write that down. Let's parking lot this. We'll talk about this later so we can break it down. Um, yes, you do. You do. You do. And that could possibly be the biggest challenge for black men. Um, because a lot of black men feel like there's not that many safe spaces when it comes to openness and communication. Um, and that might be the biggest hill you may have to get over with the black man. And sometimes it may just take patience. Sometimes he may just give you like a nugget, and you just have to be, because I know sometimes my black sisters, y'all be wanting to make sure we good, and we'll tell you one little thing. You're like, nah, what else? Nah, what else? Give me some more. And he's just like, nah, no, give me, no, we not, nah. You know what? Sometimes you got to take that little nugget he give you as a win. He gave you that little piece. Live to fight another day. Live to fight another day. Maybe bring it up another day and be like, hey, I was thinking about the conversation we had yesterday, and like you kind of left some stuff off. You prepared to talk about that stuff? See what he says. Because sometimes we don't want. I know when I started therapy, when I say bless my therapist, because I put her through it, because I wasn't trying to give her nothing. Like I was like, you taking these little sugar cubes and call it a day. And sometimes you just got to take the little piece and just like take it one at a time, because eventually it's gonna break. Because remember, a lot of thing with men, it's just consistency. I start realizing you're showing that you have my back, like you have not done anything to show like you're against me after a while, it's gonna be nothing for me to sit there. It's gonna be gravy for me to just tell you how I feel. Hey, sis, this is how I've been feeling. How do I maneuver this? How do I maneuver that? What do you think? Hey, can I just shoot the breeze real quick? This is how I'm feeling. So yeah, it takes being mindful. Definitely being mindful. Sometimes in society we completely forget to be mindful of people.
I learned that with my child, with my 16-year-old. Um, Sometimes I have to take the nugget, and even though I know as a parent, spidey sense is going off, something's still wrong, but I take the nugget and then we'll revisit it later. So one of the biggest ways that for me even to have this space, I was telling the fellas last week, is because I am a boy mom. Oh, boy mama. I'm a boy mom. And so I I am raising my children to be somebody's husband. And so the whole aspect of when black boys are told to be quiet, black boys don't cry. Black boy, no, we don't do that over here. We cry over here. Unless you're trying to get out of getting a whooping or getting in trouble. No, we cry over here. We show emotion over here. We're vulnerable over here. I have this thing called we call it hot conversations, honest, open, and transparent. I used to do them every Friday, and I think I need to start back doing them, especially with my son getting ready to go into his junior year in high school. And this particular conversation is, you get to say everything, and there are no consequences. So whatever you say,
My dad used to do that. Yeah.
you get it all out, and there's no consequences. There's no getting in trouble. Like, let's be open. And I do that because I just I used to be the woman that tore a man down. And I don't want a woman tearing my sons down. So now when I mean, God gotta get your attention some kind of way. And I hate it took me having children to get me to this place. But really how I interact with a man that I am interested in, and just men in general.
Yeah.
How would I feel if a woman interacted with my son this way? That's how I go about certain situations. Like, how would I feel if my son came and told me that a female did this or said this? And it makes me stop and pause. Now, sometimes if you my man, you just gonna get it. It just is what it is. You know, that's what you signed up for, baby. But but really, truly, like, pausing and thinking, because we said it last week. Y'all are logical. We are emotional. So sometimes Mercedes can't respond emotionally to something he got going on. I gotta use this. And with men, it's not that I need you to solve the problem. I just want you to be a listening ear. But because by nature y'all are protectors, providers, solutionists, you want to come in and solve the problem when all I really want you to do is hear why I can't stand Shawanda. But now you trying to tell me
Now you
you
got
need to
us.
do
You got
da da
us
da da da
looking
da. And it's like, no,
exactly.
I just want you to listen. So it's one of those things where you just kind of gotta understand how we, like, interpret things, and then we we'll be all right.
Because everyone, we're not in a perfect world, so everyone thinks differently. Everyone takes in information differently. One thing I tell everybody when they give me something, like, give me a minute to process it. Give me a minute to process it so I know exactly what route I need to go. That be a man came promoted. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Um,
that's why
I
we're gonna
do
do that
think,
over here.
yeah, it's very important, because when you're sitting here and you're saying like, well, you're a man, you're the man, and then I think that's why it's so interesting when you think of like the dynamics when people are having conversation about patriarchy and stuff like that, is that's how lines get blurred, because when you start having those conversations, you have to start dealing with the spaces of, what am I, if we're going to tear down something that's been bad, you also got to understand that there's probably some negative things that you've benefited from that you might need to understand needs to be torn down as well. In order for that man to be the man you're looking for, there's probably some things that we have internalized that we believe he should do that is actually not healthy. Think about it. You want your sons to be healthy, to enjoy life, one day to be fathers, husbands, all that stuff. But you can't sit there and be verbally beating them down every day, physically beating them down every day, treating them like just whatever. And then when they become adults, it's like, well, this how you supposed to be. Well, mom, for since you had me, you was treating me like this, and now you're telling me that I'm adult. I'm supposed to maneuver like that. I'm going to maneuver the way I came up. And even goes for our little girls too. Um, Sometimes the way we treat our kids creates the reality that we have to deal with. And it's a loaded gun to say that because when you look at our generation today and then you look at how the parents probably maneuvered raising them, they're a product of how they was handled as children.
To that point, I want to speak on this really, really quickly because one of my friends sent me this video, and it's a guy, and he's singing this jingle, and he's basically saying, if your little girl has to change what she has on because grown-ups are coming to your house, your child is not the problem.
I saw that. Yep, I saw that.
And when I tell you I resonate with it because so this is something I live. Growing up, well, number one, if anybody know me publicly and personally that's on here, and you've been to my house or you've been on the phone with me, people Dylan don't be having on no clothes. My baby drop. Drop. You know what I'm saying? My God. Just because that is the type of environment I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Because when nobody in the house touching nobody. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, but I'm saying this to make this point. So when me and my ex were together, he used to say, mind you, Dylan had to be like 3 and Jay was about 10. No. How many? Yeah. Yeah, Jay was about 10, Dylan was about 3. And he used to always be like, mind you, Dylan walked around in a pamper because that's how old he was. And he was like, like they need to put on clothes. And I'm like, no, they don't. They boys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're walking around with their chest out or whatever. So I let it go. I didn't think nothing of it. So then one day we're on the phone and his mother came home early. He's in the kitchen fixing a sandwich. And he runs upstairs, puts on a shirt, comes back, maybe 2 seconds, finishes what he's doing, go back upstairs. In my logical brain, I'm thinking, just finish what you was doing because you was finna go back upstairs anyway. But no, like you had to have on a shirt or whatever. Like, and I just not saying it's weird because everybody was raised different.
Yeah,
but
everyone's raised different. Yeah,
raised like we're liberated over here. And again, ain't nobody touching nobody. And so when my friend sent me the jingle or whatever, that's another thing when you say about little girls, this whole thing about little girls being fast, sometimes it's not little girls being fast. They're just little girls being little girls. And I'm talking about, now I ain't talking about all that twerking and all that other stuff. I ain't talking about that. But just being at a space where a child can be a child and you're stopping a child from being a child because an adult comes in the room, I got a problem with it. Now, when company like my mama clients or people, I'm not talking about family is one thing. Now, strangers, yeah, Dylan, go put on a shirt, go put on some basketball, whatever. But this whole notion of a child having to be uncomfortable in their home because another grown person is, I can't fathom. Like
And
I don't understand it.
and I think the wild thing is, and thankfully, like you created a space for your boys to be able to grow up. Because if we be honest, a lot of our children today don't have that space to actually be kids. We're not allowing a 4 year old to be four. We're not allowing a 10 year old to be 10. Like we're not allowing them to have those spaces. And kind of like what the comment said about with the uncles and stuff. A lot of people don't want, especially in our community, we're big on holding down deep dark secrets of foolery that doesn't happen in the family, and then people are confused on why they're maneuvering a certain way. Like you sat there, the reason why you don't want your kids around your cousins or whatever dressed a certain way is because Uncle Tony messed with you or messed with a family member. And 9 times out of 10, hate to say it, they messed with multiple family members. And people just was like, no, we just deal with it instead of nipping it in the butt and solving it. I mean, I won't tell y'all my way to solve it, but that's not very godly, but it is what it is. That
But you
has
know, our
created,
generation ain't standing for that no more.
yeah.
Like our
Mm-hmm.
generation isn't allowing the skeletons to stay buried
In the
because
closet.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to preach y'all because I'm really, trying to keep it surface tonight. But we really digging up these generations. Like the book stops with us. We're not
Mm-hmm.
finna make our
Shutting
children
down
pay for.
generational curses.
You know what I'm saying? Like it stops with us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not finna make our children deal with something that was never theirs to carry. We're carrying stuff from generations that it wasn't us for us to carry. You know what I'm saying? And
Wasn't meant for, yeah,
that's
for you
one
to
thing
bear.
I
Yeah.
love. That's one thing I
Mm-hmm.
love about our generation. When I tell you we
Mm-hmm.
don't be with the foolery, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love
And
it.
it needs to be said. And I think what's going to help break that, yes, and kids are speaking up. Yep, kids are definitely vocal. I think that's another space when it comes to our black men. Like with your boys, teach them, allow them to be open and transparent. Like you said, when you guys have your moment where you can be honest,
Hey, my
and
sister.
not.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
No,
I,
you're good.
I just had to put my sister in my head.
No, you're good. I think what helps is creating them spaces because, matter of fact, we were just my sister and my mom. We were just laughing about it because we were talking to some brothers and we were just talking about how to maneuver in a space where there's like a lot of women. So for those who are listening, my mom's a pastor. Since my dad passed, she took over. So my mom and them laugh because like when they would talk to the brothers be really apprehensive. Like they don't really try and say nothing. And I'm over there talking about y'all better talk, y'all better like y'all better say what needs to be said. And like they were like, we don't understand why JR is so vocal. And my sister's like, y'all don't realize he the only boy and grew up with nothing but women cousins. She was like, Alan always had the verb to be able to stand up for himself. So like it's nothing for me to sit there in a conversation and say what I gotta say and move on without fear of consequences. Because they allow that space for me to be able to banter back and forth without being intimidated or without feeling like I'm coming off disrespectful. And I think sometimes we have stunted a lot of our black men communication skills because what do we say now? If a man does say something they don't agree with you, you're sassy. No, I just don't agree with what you said. Like I'm not saying you bad because I don't agree with it. I just don't agree with that particular thing. Um, and I think as more of them start, especially like you said with this generation and like with your boys and the future generations to come, as they're being shown how to have that voice and use it, it's going to help break a lot of curses that has been passed down on families. I think when we see, like I think last year before it was training about Black Boy Joy and things like that. It's allowing black men and black children and black boys to actually experience like, hey, I'm being allowed to be my authentic self as I'm growing and discovering myself. And I think that might be the biggest challenge that we as black men have dealt with is not being allowed to be our authentic self in a lot of spaces. We're just like, I come home, I go to work, do what I gotta do, put the bacon on the table, whatever, come home, that's it. Instead of just having like, this is how I feel. This is Mercedes, what you did, this is how this is making me feel. Can we talk about that? Instead, we're just like, you got to deal with it. You a guy. It is what it is. That's what you was made to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Yes, that is very true. That is very true. A lot of our young boys have been abused by women in our community, and unfortunately, we unfortunately has looked at it as a badge of honor. As soon as a boy talk about he slept with an older woman, the brothers adapted it up instead, just like, no, that's not cool. Like that shouldn't have happened to you. Matter of fact, to kind of deviate off it, I remember I saw it trended on TikTok, I think last year, where someone put a post up like that, and the comment section was mind boggling. Like the amount of men was like, "Oh yeah, I was 9 when my babysitter who was 22 messed with me. Oh yeah, I was 15 when my
Because
mom's
it
best friend who
started
was
from
30."
that Boosie. It started from that Boosie interview or clip or whatever. That's what it came
Hmm.
from. And there was, and I was like, child,
Like, nah, that's not normal. Like, that's not normal at all, at all.
like
Um,
you were abused. Like let's call it what it is. You were abused.
yeah, he was abused. So I think a lot of that has added to wounds that have been reopened, cut open, closed, cut open, closed, cut open, closed, reopened, left open to get infected. And then you add the caveat of you're growing into manhood. Now you're also interacting with the opposite sex, our black sisters. And then if you mingle the stuff that you're carrying with the stuff that we're carrying, it's a powder keg waiting to explode. It's waiting to explode. Especially when it's not, you don't have the spaces. And when I say the space for our black men, I'm going so far as even our churches, our communities, like we don't really have spaces for black men to actually be vulnerable. And then there's a caveat to that, because then there are spaces that have I've seen that have been created and our brothers don't go to it. So it's like a catch 22. It's like someone will create the space, but then no one to go to it. And then if somebody wants the space, they can't find nobody who's willing to build the space, because it's like, of course, like you said, we take everything is data. So if I know I'm in a certain area and I'm like, you know what, I want to create a safe space for black men. Every other Thursday night, we get together, we talk about whoopty whoopty whoop. If no one shows up, we'll quit. No one came, so I'm not going to do it no more. And sometimes a lot of men just want to see if you're consistent. Like if you're consistently going to show up in that space that you're creating. Once I see you're consistent, yeah, I'll start showing up every other Thursday. But if I see you did it one Thursday and then because it didn't go well, you stopped it, yeah, I'm not about to waste my time
I love it. Oh, this has been so good. I don't even know what question to go to
with it.
next. Oh, let me see. Hold
Uh-oh.
on. Oh, Jesus. It's a little deep for me. Okay, we kind of are right here, so I'm gonna keep it right there. Do men always recognize when they're emotionally unavailable, or does that awareness usually come after damage has been done?
Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Ask that again. Ask that again.
Do men always recognize when they're emotionally unavailable, or does the awareness come after some form of damage have already been done?
Hmm. Whew. So I'm gonna preface this before I answer with this question. I with this response. I do feel like sometimes we underscore how smart men are sometimes. So with me saying that, I actually do believe men are aware of it. That was a loaded question, so I'm trying to make sure I get the pieces right. Um, Ask again, Mercedes, because that was a loaded question. I should have had you drop that in the chat so I can look at
Oh, I'm
it.
sorry. Somebody type it for me. Do men always recognize when they're emotionally unavailable, or does the awareness come after damage has already been done? I'll put it in the chat so just so you can go back and see.
I actually do believe we do know that we are emotionally unavailable even before the damage comes. I think what happens is, and this is coming, going to sound a little churchy, God has innate put in all of us to want companionship. And I think what happens is I may know that I'm not available emotionally, but because I want that companionship, I'm a rock with it. Even though, oh, perfect. Thank you. Do men always recognize when they're emotionally unavailable, or does that awareness usually come? I think they be aware of that before the hurt, but it's like I want the companionship, so I'm not going to acknowledge it. In my experience, I'm not going to hold you. Even after the damage is done, some of them don't realize that they're emotionally unavailable. Be truth be told, some of them don't recognize it. Some of them, their response to me, it wasn't me, it was them. It had nothing to do with me. I mean, we can say, whew, don't want to sound preachy, but look at the amount of broken homes we have. You'll have one man to sit there and destroy multiple homes, and then a light bulb goes off in their head, and oh, something really is wrong with me. But after then, the damage has already been done. I think the issue is I'm gonna always say accountability. If you don't have the wherewithal to be accountable for your actions, you're always going to try and put it off on somebody else. Um, and kind of like what Tise said, after the damage, for most of them it is after the damage. But I do think from experience I've seen, there's some men who've been unavailable emotionally and knew it and just refused to acknowledge it. And sometimes that's the biggest issue. Some just won't acknowledge it. And think about if you light a match in a dry forest and you just let it run around, and no one's acknowledging the fact there's a fire there's a match that's burning the forest. It's going to end up burning everything down. And that's what happens a lot of time with the brotherhood. And that's with their interactions with each other, their interactions with their community, their interaction with sometimes even people in their family. Man, that was a loaded one. Jesus.
They love to say I asked the hard questions. So I'm gonna do two more because it just started like storming here, and I don't know if
Okay.
Yeah. What's something you had to unlearn about manhood that actually made you a better man once you let it go?
It is okay not to be able to fix everything. That was like my biggest thing, because I just felt like as a man, if I can't fix it or I can't provide the solution, I felt like I was a failure. And that drove me like hard. If I can't fix it, if I can't give you a solution, then I'm less of a man. And that was something that I really had to deconstruct with my therapist heavily in regards to that. Like with my therapist heavily, because my worth was in seeing myself. I figured I was worthy if I was able to answer or fix any and all obstacles. I felt like that's where I got my worth from. And then the minute I wasn't able to do that or meet the expectations that was expected of me to meet it, then I felt like I was the lowest thing on the planet. So that was the biggest thing for me.
Dang, I got like two more. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, yeah, we're gonna do it like this. Okay. Um, what are men afraid will happen if they fully confront their pain instead of burying it?
You're going to see that lost little boy. You're going to see the lost little boy. You're going to see, if I, of course, I'm going to say therapy and Jesus. It's going to, exactly. I like that response. A lot of them are afraid you're going to see the lost little boy or the little boy that's been begging to come out. Um, think of Here's a good way to look at it, Mercedes. When you look at, if you've ever seen a man who fully has given into their healing, Have you ever noticed how emotionally available they are after that? And a lot of our brothers tend to struggle with that level of vulnerability. If I become that vulnerable, you about to see that little 6 year old, 5 year old, 2 year old, 12-year old kid that felt like no one believed in them or nobody wanted them or nobody loved them. Um, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Like because I had buried stuff that I didn't realize I buried until I went in therapy. And I was over here like pulling stuff from when I was like 10, 11, 9, 8. Mind you, I had an amazing childhood. So I was shocked when that stuff was pulled out. And sometimes you're scared of facing that little boy in the mirror. I think that's one of the that's I would say for me, I think that's a big challenge that black men would have to deal with, facing the little boy in the mirror.
Let me tell you that thing about therapy real quick. So I initially went to therapy. I had to do some therapy when I was younger, but I went to therapy after Dylan was born because I had really, really bad postpartum depression. Now, after we combated the postpartum depression, she wanted to still see me because she was like, "Oh, I think there's some other stuff going on here, you know."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And when I tell you that lady uncovers, first of all, the way the Lord created us, the mind is such an just an intricate organ because the way the
mm-hmm,
mind can literally bury something to the point that when it's uncovered, it'll have you saying, "That ain't happened to me. No, I ain't go through that. Wait a
mm-hmm,
minute." And then, you know what I'm saying? The
mm-hmm,
more you talk, the more, the Holy Spirit reveals certain things. Once you, like, because
mm-hmm,
when you get to a place where you want to heal for real and you pray, because a lot of people be like, when it comes to generational curses, well, I don't know my grandma. I don't know this. I don't know that. I don't know my grandpa. But if you ask the Holy Spirit,
it'll
he,
reveal it.
he will reveal all the things. And it'll have you thinking, like, bro, did
Mm-hmm,
that really
mm-hmm,
happen to me? Am I tripping? Am I making this up? And it'll be something you actually went through, but the
mm-hmm,
brain, to protect you,
mm-hmm,
hides it from you because something is released when you're sad, something is released when you're happy. Like, just
mm-hmm.
that thing, like, I can go on and on about the brain. The brain is
Oh
just so
yeah,
crazy.
it's and the funny thing is like when I went to therapy, I initially went for grief counseling.
Okay.
That's the only thing I originally went to therapy for. And the only reason I went to therapy is because one day my mom called me and she was like, "I don't know what you need to do, but the Alan that I know prior to Newman passing, I'm not seeing that Alan no more." She's like, "You need to figure out where that Alan is." And that's what made me go to therapy. And I initially went just for grief therapy. And then she started being nosy in that therapy. She's like, "Nah, there's some other stuff we need to deal with. There's some other stuff you need to deal like." And that's when she broke it down. And I realized like between middle school and my early years in elementary school, I had a lot of self-doubt, a lot of like hurt, a lot of stuff that I didn't realize that was there until she started unpacking that. And that's why I said she had to fight with me because, baby, I wasn't trying to have none of that. Like, I was just here to talk about my dad passing, and that was it. We ain't, what you mean we about to sit here? Yeah. And I ended up with her for, I had her for 3 years. Like, I was like, yo. So, yeah, like that therapy is really, really important.
All right, so this gonna be our last question. I'm gonna let my brother go. So, ladies, so my brother is single. That don't mean throw yourself in his DM. He's a good man, Savannah. But
Man,
I just want to put it
don't be
out there
set,
because
don't be setting me up for failure. That these ladies come
he's
back to about Mercedes. You know that you know who you had on that show. Like, nah, don't. I'm still
what?
growing. I'm
You
still
not a good
growing every
man?
day. I am a good man. This is what
Exactly.
I tell people every day. I just work to be better than I was the day before.
And that's all we
That's
ask
what I
for.
tell everybody. That's what I tell everybody.
Okay, so
Am
here's
I
your
am I
last question.
problematic? I'm a healthy problematic. How about that? Like, let's stop.
First of all, let me tell you something. Black women, let me just tell y'all something. This man loved him a black woman. You gonna be his cocoa butter kisses. You hear me? You gonna be his personal cocoa puff. That man love him a black woman, honey.
Here you go.
What she say? Hold on, y'all, because y'all know I can't see.
The response makes so much sense, Mercedes, because the brain is always trying to protect
It
and preserve.
is.
Yep.
Cause
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at that lady like, girl, that ain't happened to me. She was like, sweetie, yes it did. I was like, and then the more I started praying, like, cause you have to be ready for that prayer, for the Holy Spirit to reveal. Like, you got to be ready, cause he gonna shout that thing down real quick. But brother,
Yes, ma'am. I feel like this is about to be real messy, but go ahead. What you
it's
about to ask me?
not. I
Oh,
promise
okay.
you that. I
Okay.
feel like this is
Okay.
gonna be the most surface level question I've asked all
Oh,
night.
okay. 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 We'll take it in. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Can a man, y'all hear that thunder?
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
Can a man truly love someone well if he hasn't taken responsibility for his own healing?
Unpopular opinion? No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Now I'm saying for me, I don't believe so. Because if I'm not fully healed, like I said earlier, when you're still wounded and you're bleeding on somebody else, you're mingling your trauma into their trauma and you cause in a big fire. I don't believe you can. Now, am I saying that you don't deserve to have a relationship because you're in that space? Absolutely not. I'm just saying if you want to genuinely be responsible as a man, you should be able to or willing to sit back and heal yourself to the best. Because let's call a spade a spade. Let me take that back. We're going to always be healing until the end of time. Like, we're always going to be healing. We're going to be healing from something. Um, but if you take the time to take care of those big boulders that you know is going to affect you in a relationship, then it would help you. But I don't think it's wise or necessarily healthy to have like these big issues and jumping into a relationship because Mercedes, I don't know what issues you done dealt with. I don't know what triggers you. I don't know what you've dealt with that may cause a problem if we're in a relationship. Wait, what you gotta watch the PK? Yo, that hurts my feelings. You don't know what good example. Super transparent moment. I was with a young lady, super amazing. And we had a slight disagreement. Was it fixable? I think it could have been fixable. The way I handled it was definitely not the best way. Um, but when I reflected afterwards, after the breakup, and I reflected on what she dealt with in prior relationships, I had to realize, like, because I was dealing with some idiosyncrasies in my life, it exposed and made traumas that she had create fruition and caused a powder keg to blow up in our relationship. Because sometimes the person you care about is going to trigger something. And if they don't know how to navigate it because they're not healed, they're going to trigger it and not care. And what happened is I triggered it and didn't care because it wasn't a problem. I know that's going to sound rough. Hear me out, sis. That's going to sound rough. Hear me out. But I didn't care because I was just worried at the time about how I was feeling in the situation. And I think when you are dealing with, you're not fully healed and you're dealing with someone in your life, small arguments can blow up, big arguments become atomic bombs. And now you're sitting here picking up the pieces because you was not regulated and mature enough to maneuver what you was dealing with to help that relationship. So all that to say, I don't think it's necessarily wise. I'm sorry, I'll take that back. I don't think you necessarily can date or impact somebody while you have massive healing you need to do on your side. I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. It made sense in my head. I hope it made sense coming out loud.
No, it made
because
very much
yeah,
sense.
because if she's hurt and I'm hurt and she's in her feelings, I'm in my feelings, it's pretty much. Oh, good example. Look at this. Look at the arguments on social media between men and women. That shows you right there. Look at the arguments between social media. Like that shows you right there. It's a bunch of people that are not healed and not willing to be healed, affecting other people that are not healed and not willing to heal, and you put it together, and that's what you get. Like that's what you get. You literally get people when you're like that. You're not fully comprehending the other person. You're not fully listening to the person. Matter of fact, I call it, you're not actively listening to that person. You're listening to that person in order for you to say what you got to say. You're not listening to understand them at all. Mika,
Absolutely,
I
because a
regret.
lot of the stuff that I see on social media, I be quiet. Because when they talk about they won't do X, Y, and Z for their man, or they ain't getting up and making a sandwich for their man, and they not doing it, I be quiet, baby. Because me and that mom gonna shuffle on to the kitchen. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm just saying I'm definitely not that one gonna be talking about I'm a man. No, no, I love it over here. Y'all be talking, oh, you really? Yes, I'm going home. Yep. I'm going home. Don't worry about me. I'm going home.
Ooh.
Don't worry about me. I'm going home. You can call me whatever you want to. Fellas, I will catch y'all next week. I'm going home.
I love that little video of the little girl. Cause most women be like, when my man tell me he made it home and I'm out with the girls, and the little girl walking around talking, I'm finna go home.
Yep, I'm going home. I'm going home. No, I'm going home. Matter of fact, I'm gonna text you, babe, at 9:58. Text me, talking about it's time to come home. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'm not trying to be out here with these boys. I'm going home.
My family friends already know, baby, when I get married, don't look for me for 3 months. Baby, this has been a long
It's a
journey.
wrap.
Don't
It's a
look for
wrap.
me.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I tell everybody I got some ministering that needs to be done.
Come on! Clapping and we ain't talking about hands. Come on, Jesus. Hallelujah.
About to be a walking song of Solomon in that household. But
Come
anyway, that's
on.
a conversation for another day.
I love it.
Mm-mm,
Oh, bro, thank
mm-mm,
you so
mm-mm.
much for coming on. I absolutely love it.
Anytime, anytime,
For
sis. Anytime. I
everybody
told
that's
you,
engaged. Y'all
not
go.
too grown.
That's my brother wife. So yes, sis.
Mika, you are correct.
What she said?
I agree with
Oh,
that.
okay.
I don't believe a man can love well if he's not taking care of his children. I believe that completely.
Listen.
I believe that completely. Because I don't understand how you got 50 million loving kids out here, and you over here talking about I'm about to marry the love of my life, and you got all these little ones, these little crumb snatchers running around. Like I don't understand it.
And I don't
So no,
have any respect for a woman who allows a man not to be in his children's life. I have no respect.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Very, very free,
So,
very, very accurate, very accurate. Sis, I appreciate it though. Like I told you when you sent me the message, and I told you I don't do podcasts no more. Me personally, I feel like they need to blow these mics up. Like, I'm just like blow these mics up.
but I got something to
But
say, and I'm gonna say it. But no,
yeah, but when you sent me the invite, I was like, yeah, I definitely let me get on my good sis platform and see what's it about. So I appreciate it. I love it. I love it. I pray that you continue to create the space that you have, and that you get the support. And for the brothers who tap in and listen to the replay or stuff, like this is definitely a safe space. It's something you might want to check out a couple of the other episodes she's did because that's what I did. There's some good conversations. Of course, to my black women, my AKA melanated Cocoa Puffs, I always got love for y'all. I always got love for y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. But yes, sis, I appreciate it. If you ever need me, let me know. I would be more than happy
y'all,
to
y'all
come
probably gonna see
be
him
on the
next
show.
month. Before we started, he actually gave me a really dope idea, and I am gonna sit with it, and I'm gonna ruminate on some of the things, and I'm probably gonna be having a flyer posted by next week if I just feel it in my shana to do it.
You
But yeah,
do
I'm
that,
gonna.
that's about to be a fire, like a fire worth of shows, because
Yeah,
that conversation I think needs to be had in its totality. So yeah, let me know. Let me know. Just don't
yeah.
if you do it, just don't try and get me on the third week of July. That's my birthday week, so I will not be. around here on the third week of
Wait,
July. So
when your birthday?
July 17th.
Okay. What you doing?
Hmm. I was supposed to go to Aruba, but that changed after Spirit
Came
and
back.
everything went down.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
What airline did you take?
I should have said that, Shalane. I'm sorry.
You shouldn't have. Absolutely not. Because,
Because we went to
yeah, that hurt my
Aruba,
feelings.
Bonaire, and Curacao. I thought Aruba was gonna
Oh, you
be.
went for your cruise, right?
I thought Aruba was gonna be my favorite island. It was actually Curacao. It was. Oh my goodness, I want to go back.
Yes, Mika. Bless God for Song of Solomon. Um,
We complete. That's my friend that.
um, I was supposed to stay a week in Aruba, but once them flights and stuff kind of got jacked up, so
Oh yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Aruba's been on my. I've been trying to get to Aruba for the past 4 years. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get there.
You can have
So,
a time.
so
The
I'm
beach was amazing. Nah, that water was so blue. The beach was my favorite part of Aruba. But like just going into the town, I like Curacao more. But
okay, yeah. I'll see you eventually. So I haven't decided what I'll be doing, but I know I won't be. I won't be around here. I won't be around here. I know that much.
well, let the people know if you have anything going on, and then we're gonna close it out. When we close out, don't leave.
Um,
But yeah.
yeah. Actually, guys, I really don't have. Thank you for the early birthday wishes. I really don't have much that's going on. I will just drop this. If you are on any of the platforms, you can find me on TikTok at Newman, aka Junior. On Instagram, the same Newman, aka Junior. And Facebook, Alan Newman Jr. If you want to support. Other than that, nothing, sis. I tell you, I stay hidden. I stay out the way. I'm not. The streets out here dirty. I stay out the way.
Well, y'all, again, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Next week is the last week, and y'all, it's going to go even higher. Like every week, it's just, I love it. It gets better and
Make sure to
better.
tune in.
So, y'all be
Make
sure
sure
to
to
tune
tune in
in
live
next
next
week,
week.
7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I don't ask none of the same questions twice. So, I got a panel of, I think, 3 brothers that's going to be on here next week. So, y'all come on and listen in. But again,
That's
I
what's
want
up.
to thank y'all for coming to Mirror Talks, and I want to thank y'all for keeping it cute in the comments, because this is a safe space for my black brothers. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And we're gonna see y'all next week. Bye,
All right,
y'all.
ladies. Bye, everybody.